how do you organize your writing? Hi, my name is Shelley Hitz, and I help writers get their books out of their heads and onto paper using my book formulas and virtual writing retreats so that you can write words that outlive you and self-publish books that fulfill your calling. In each of my Ask Shelley episodes, I promise to share at least one thing that will help you write, self-publish, and market your books so that the message of your books can impact lives. So I received this question, like, how do you create a plan to help organize writing, not just the publishing of the book? And this is a great question. And there are many ways to organize your writing. I'm going to share a few ideas, but I want to preface this by saying the best way to organize your writing is what works best for you. So you may have to do some trial and error, and you may have to see, is it something digital that works for me, or is it something analog? So if it's analog, it's like paper and pen. It's something you can hold. And I've actually found that a lot of our Christian Book Academy members or the clients that I've worked with, they actually prefer analog, writing something out with paper and pen. I choose usually a hybrid approach, so a little bit of both. And so just know that there's going to be something different that works for each of you. And I want you just to feel free to experiment, and don't feel free and don't feel boxed in by any one certain way to do it. So the first thing is you want to organize the outline. Now, some of you are what's called pantsters, and that means you fly by the seat of your pants and the fiction novel just comes to you as you write or something like that. But a lot of times what I've found is that even if you have a simple outline for the next scene or for the next chapter, instead of sitting down to write and looking at that blank page, you have something to start with. And that way you at least have somewhere to go with the next part that you're writing, and it takes some of that writer's block away. And so with an outline, there's, again, digital, there's analog, and there can be hybrid ways to do it. In the past, I've loved using mind maps, and I will link to a video tutorial where I've done that below. And one of the things that I love about mind maps is that you can move things around. And so I like that because when you're outlining a book and you just want to get that ugly, messy first draft out of your head and onto paper, it doesn't need to be perfect. And so what happens is in that first draft process and in that outlining process, things often move around. They change. Or, this chapter just doesn't seem to fit anymore. Or this scene may go down here. And so if you have something and the system that you're using allows some flexibility, that's the best option. So with mind mapping, you have little nodules and you can move them around. And then you have a circle with a line, maybe another circle, another line. It's just, but then you can close things down. So for me, my brain gets overwhelmed if I see everything at once. So I can close all the other chapters down except the very one that I'm working on. That works really well for me. Now, I have a Christian Book Academy member, Jennifer Waddle, and she loves using mind maps written out analog. So on a piece of paper, she'll just draw a big circle with the book topic or title or tentative title or whatever, and then different lines off of that for the different chapters. That works really good for her. And then I have another Academy member, and she actually was my partner for many years, Heather Hart. She prefers analog and she uses sticky notes. So she'll have a binder with the little sheet protectors, and then she'll put a piece of copy paper in there. But she'll take that out and she'll use sticky notes. So the sticky notes will be the different chapters, and then so she can move those around like you would move the mind map around. And then once she kind of has it in the position she wants, she puts it back into that sheet protector, and she can always refer back to it or take it out and move it around, or take off a sticky note, throw that one away, put on a new one, right? Because that's the way it works. Let's just be real. That it's just messy. It's messy, and that first draft is ugly. It's messy. No one's ever meant to see it. But when you're organizing your outline, those are some things to keep in mind. Are you able to move things around? At least use some sort of pencil, or there's also these friction pens. And this is actually one of them, and they're erasable. So this one has like a little eraser and you can actually erase the pen. So, that's something, if you prefer pens, that's something to think about as well. But the second thing to think about is as you're actually writing the content. So now you already have the outline and now you're wanting to write the content. I like to think about, having the content in buckets. So, all of your information will be in different containers or different buckets. And how you want to organize this is up to you. You could have a Google Drive folder for that book, and then you could have a document and then just use heading titles so you can easily navigate it, but then just kind of dump everything for the chapter 1 under that heading. And that's what I did recently. We have been helping my dad write a book about his life and his assault and brain injury that happened in 2009. But I just took out a Google Doc and I used the headings because then I can look in outline view. So in outline view, when you're in Google Docs, you can just click right to that chapter. And so I just took all of the transcripts from his videos, all of the content from his blog, all of the stuff that I was taking from interviews that I was doing with him, and I would just copy and paste it into those buckets. And basically my buckets were just using the heading tag in Google Docs, so it would show up in my outline view. And then I was able to organize that stuff later. You may want to have a different Google Doc for each chapter in the beginning, and then you just dump everything for that chapter in that doc. You may want to have a different folder for each chapter. I mean, it really is up to you. It depends on how much research you have. Maybe you have a lot of quotes. Some people use Evernote. I used that years ago, but I no longer use it. I just find Google Drive it's just easy, it's free, but it's on my phone, my iPad, my computer, and it's searchable. It's just, to me, it's just been the simplest, easiest way, but I know some of you are not into that. So you can use all sorts of different organization tools. Some people love Notion, and some people really love using different writing softwares like Scrivener. But my recommendation to you is, let's not go and learn a whole new software right now. So use what you already know. So if you're on a computer and even Google Drive is like, oh, I don't know, it's like it's just new to you, just create a folder on your computer for your book, and then create a folder for the first draft, and then however you want to organize it, but and then use a Word document, pages, whatever you're used to. Because the thing is, we can go into learning Scrivener or learning Evernote, and someone says you need to use this software, and then guess what? We don't write the book because we get stuck trying to learn the software. So don't let that be a sticking point for you. Now, if you like to learn things and you want to do that, go for it. Now, if all the digital stuff is just like, no, I'm not really wanting that right now, you can, again, use the binder method with folders. So I know some of our members in Christian Book Academy, and my mom is one of them, she likes to write out, and with her, it's paper and pencil, not even pen, like pencil. And that's when it flows for her. So use what works best for you, but she'll write her book in that way. And so you could actually have different folders in your binder where you keep the content for different chapters. Maybe there's an article that you print off or a quote that you print off, and just things that you're jotting down, ideas that you're jotting down. Maybe you use the Notes app on your phone. Maybe that's what you use. I know a really, really successful copywriter, and she recently admitted she runs her business from the Notes app, the free Notes app on her iPhone, but she creates folders in the Notes app. So the tip of this, even notebooks, like you could get a 5-subject notebook and or just buy those little tabs, and then you have sections where you're gathering all the content for that chapter. But the whole thing about this is you want to find what works best for you and create buckets. Some sort of container that contains the different things. So you may want to have a bucket for all your research, a bucket for all your quotes. Like if I have certain images, I'll have a bucket for those images. And that way it's just organized. It's easy to find. It's kind of like having drawers in your closet. Like we have a whole thing, like we didn't put it in, it was there when we bought this condo, but there's a whole closet organization thing. And it has, different shelves and different drawers. And that's what you want to think about, like these buckets or these folders or these different things that you're creating. It's like creating drawers. So like I know which drawer of mine has my socks in it, right? So you know which drawer or which bucket has your research or has chapter 1. Use whatever works for you. These are just a few ideas. So number 1, talked about organizing your outline. Number 2, organizing your actual writing content and any research that you're collecting, any ideas. And then number 3 is organizing a to-do list. So you, again, can use a simple notebook, just that you buy at Walmart or at the dollar store. I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy. I mean, I don't have it here, but I have those little like notebooks with the spirals on the top, and you can just, it's easy to carry with you. They have those small ones that you can just jot things down in. That might be something where you just make your to-do list in there, and then you can cross things out, you can create a new one. But I prefer most of the time is to keep everything organized online. I've used many different ways to do my to-do list, and you don't have to use anything fancy. I mean, they have a simple thing for like that's free with Google that I think is called Google Tasks. But just find something that you can use. I've even used a Google document, and they have the little check mark instead of a bullet. You can do a check mark, and then you actually can click that box, and it marks it as done. So that's a really easy way. If you're already using Google Drive, it's an easy way to do it. But sometimes I do like the handheld things, and I have sticky notes and I have things all over here. But then, just write kind of what is next for your writing. Like, what are you going to be working on next? Or what are some things that you want to research? Or what's something you don't want to forget? And so I hope that this has given you a few ideas. It sparked something in you. And like I said, trial and error. Don't try to shove a round peg into a square hole. I always say that to writers is find what works for you. And so number 1, try organizing your outline. Number 2, organize your actual writing of that first draft and then coming the final draft. Organize it in buckets of some sort, however that looks like to you, and then organize your to-do list. So I hope this has been helpful. If you would like more help in getting that book out of your head onto paper and really being able to self-publish your book this year, even in the midst of a busy schedule, like we help you fit book writing in the nooks and crannies of your life inside Christian Book Academy. So come join us. Join us at christianbookacademy.com. We would love to have you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.